Well, good morning and thanks for watching the latest episode of our YouTube travel series as we take you on board the iconic Indian Pacific rail service between Perth, Adelaide and Sydney. And at 4,000 plus kilometres, it is going to be one heck of a journey. Let's take a look at what's coming up. On board the Indian Pacific, we'll leave no stone or shower curtain unturned on a tour of the Gold Service cabins. Off the train, we'll get on the trail of the ghosts of Cook in the midst of the mighty Nullarbor. Taste our way around the venerable Adelaide Central Market. And trek the trails of the incomparable Blue Mountains, all of which are included in your fare. But before we ride the rails, take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring travel ideas. Our adventure on the Indian Pacific gets underway relatively early at East Perth Rail Terminal. Before boarding the train, guests are treated to a light breakfast on the platform, accompanied by live entertainment. The excitement ratchets up a notch as boarding is announced, and having met our Gold Service cabin attendants at the door, it's time to settle in. Alrighty, well I'm going to take this opportunity before I mess this place up completely to show you around my home away from home here on board the Indian Pacific. And it's really charming. So walking into the cabin, you've got this very comfortable 3-seater lounge. Now that actually folds down and becomes the bed at night. There's also a bunk bed above, which I obviously won't be using because it's just me, but that's where 2 people would sleep in this particular room. Over here is the door to the ensuite bathroom. Very snug, but well appointed, I've got to say. So you've got your sink, your toilet there, the shower, you've got spare towels in this little cupboard to keep them dry. You've also got your amenities. Back out in the cabin, you've got a list of audio channels here, whatever you want to listen to. You've also got your light switches for the room and a power socket. And then in here, little wardrobe. All in all, very comfortable. And before too long, we're underway. Now, thanks to the fine folks at TFE Hotels, we spent the night prior to our trip at the fabulous Vibe Hotel Subiaco Perth, a stylish accommodation option that will get your journey on the Indian Pacific off to a great start. The hotel is situated just a 12-minute drive from the East Perth Rail Terminal and in close proximity to Subiaco's plethora of cafes, bars and restaurants. Not that you'll necessarily want to leave the hotel. Vibe Hotel Subiaco's rooftop bar and eatery storehouse is amazing. Enjoy a bevy from the bar with the glittering city lights as a backdrop and feast on the finest locally sourced produce. Before heading off to the station, you may want to order an a la carte breakfast or burn off any indulgences from the night before in the hotel pool. So, there are some changes afoot for guests travelling on the Indian Pacific from Perth through to Sydney from 2025. It will be a 5-day experience rather than the current 4 days, and you'll get to visit destinations like the amazing Barossa Valley and also Broken Hill, Australia's only city inscribed in its entirety on the National Heritage List. So some of what we show you in this itinerary will be a little different, but hey, the romance of rail travel won't change. Let's go and have a look around. Each accommodation carriage is located in close proximity to an Outback Explorer lounge, which features comfortable seating and a well-stocked bar. It's a great spot to relax with a glass of bubbles and chat with fellow guests, or just watch the ever-changing landscape drift by. Meals on board the Indian Pacific are served in its Queen Adelaide restaurant cars, which salute the golden age of rail travel. All meals are included in the cost of your ticket, along with a selection of wines and other beverages. The presentation is impeccable, and each night while you're wining and dining, a turn-down service transforms your cabin into a sanctuary for sleep. Alrighty, well, good morning. Now, just a tip when using these showers here on the Indian Pacific, it's pretty snug in here and you really have to keep this shower curtain all the way around you to keep the water contained. Otherwise, you end up with wet toilet paper and that is not a good thing. And after a hearty breakfast, I'm ready for the day's off-train experience in the very heart of the mighty Nullarbor. Alrighty, you know the old saying, the middle of nowhere? Well, that is exactly where we find ourselves today. The town of Cook was established back in the early part of the 20th century, along with a string of other settlements to support the construction of the Trans-Australian Railway, which was completed in 1917. Today, it's largely abandoned and described as a bit of a ghost town, and with the Nullarbor stretching in every direction, it does have a bit of an eerie feel. Let's go and have a look around. Now, Cook does actually have one or two permanent residents, and they're happy to chat about life in this far-flung outpost. And as you explore, it's not hard to get a sense of what life would have been like back when this was a thriving outback community with a school, hospital, and plenty of other civic amenities. Back on board, we continue along the longest straight stretch of rail track in the world. By the following morning, the Outback has morphed into the outer suburbs of the South Australian capital. We'll be spending just a couple of hours in Adelaide, and there are a number of off-train experiences to choose from. I opt to visit the famous Adelaide Central Market. The Adelaide Central Market is the doyen of the city's dining scene, and it's been a much-loved part of the culinary landscape here in the South Australian capital for decades. Now, even if you're not in the market for a stick of celery or a bunch of grapes on holiday, a guided tour is a delicious way to explore. And in our case, it includes breakfast, sourced from a number of different stalls by our guide, Bronnie. It's not hard to appreciate why this market is such a cherished culinary institution. If you can't find a particular ingredient here, it probably doesn't exist. We rub shoulders with various vendors during the tour, and note to self, I could quite happily wrap up breakfast every morning with a tasting of Turkish delight. Crossing the SA border with New South Wales, we continue on towards Broken Hill, home to the Palace Hotel, immortalised in popular culture by the hit film The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. A drag scene continues to flourish here, and Broken Hill's own Shelita Buffet drops by our Outback Explorer Lounge for a rowdy round of drag bingo. Raising the blinds on our final morning on the Indian Pacific reveals the scenic splendour of the Blue Mountains. And we disembark in Mount Victoria to transfer by bus up to Scenic World in Katoomba for our choice of off-train experience. I'm joining a local guide to do what the Blue Mountains does best, a spot of bushwalking. And we're soon rewarded with our first epic vista of the day. This walk from Scenic World around to Echo Point is doable for anyone of a reasonable fitness level and is dotted with highlights like the sublime Katoomba Cascades. There are yet more views to ooh and ah over, and our guide shares her expert botanical knowledge along the way. And we emerge at Echo Point for a postcard-perfect viewing of three very famous siblings. Wow, absolutely spectacular. To read more about this incredible journey on the Indian Pacific, just head to our website.